It's entirely in keeping with the way he has managed this war that Donald Trump's reaction to the collapse of talks in Islamabad was to announce a measure that helps Iran more than it hurts it. His own blockade of the Strait of Hormuz will have the immediate effect of stopping Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia from exporting their oil. 3 tankers from these countries passed through the strait during the ceasefire. A 4th tanker, Rich Starry, passed through Hormuz, the first since the blockade began. This is Chinese-owned and was carrying methanol loaded in the Emirati port of Hamriyah. By rights, this tanker should now be stopped because Trump has instructed the US Navy to interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. He said no one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. US Central Command tried to inject some order into the latest edict from their Commander-in-Chief by saying that the US Navy will not impede navigation for vessels transiting Hormuz to and from non-Iranian ports. However, those are the ones that are currently paying Iran the tariffs. The idiocy of this move has oil market specialists burying their heads in their hands. Since the US launched the war, Iran has allowed about 100 vessels through Hormuz. Trump, in the meantime, has gone from a policy of lifting sanctions on Iranian oil to ease the global supply pressures to seeking to cut it off altogether. Oil market specialists said that closing the strait entirely will spike oil prices even more and put more pressure on the US from the international community. What's even more bizarre is that the latest escalation comes after reports from both sets of negotiators in Islamabad that the talks were actually going quite well. Trump said they were making enough progress to prevent further military action, and the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi agreed. He said they were just inches away from a memorandum of understanding when Iran encountered maximalism, shifting goalposts, and the blockade. The truth is that one side was trying to negotiate with 70 specialists on hand to help them, and the other side was simply playing at it. Throughout those 21 hours, the US chief negotiator, Vice President J.D. Vance, was on the phone constantly to Trump, who was apparently also on the phone to the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He told a cabinet meeting that Vance reported to him, as the US administration does every day. Israel did not take kindly to being cut out of the loop of the Islamabad negotiations that led to direct talks, and would have strained every sinew to get back into the process by sabotaging it. The end result is that Trump went back on all of Iran's 10 points he had agreed to be the basis of negotiation. Rob Malley, the head of the US negotiating team under the former President Joe Biden, said that 21 hours of negotiations was 20 too many if the goal was to reiterate a demand that Iran had already rejected. It was many hours too few if the goal was to negotiate. So right now we have the worst of both worlds. A US blockade is in place, but messages are still being passed between the sides through Pakistan. The ceasefire is holding, although Israel continues to attack Lebanon, but both the Revolutionary Guards and the US Marines are on a hair trigger. Trump brags that Iran badly wants to make a deal. Badly, very badly, he says. It doesn't look that way to anyone outside Trump's bubble of fantasy. Most analysts agree that Iran is in a stronger position to confront the US than it was at the start of the war. It has proven control over the Strait of Hormuz. US intelligence assessments judges that Iran has half its rocket launchers and drones and retains thousands of missiles which it can fire from launchers buried underground. It has the increasingly overt backing of China and Russia. And again, according to US intelligence, this is more than just verbal support. China is allegedly preparing to ship new air defense systems to Iran. Iran has caused the biggest energy supply shock in decades, slashing global oil production by up to 9 million barrels per day and 1/5 of the world's gas supply. It has the Houthis poised to join in. Hezbollah is fighting an Israeli incursion as never before, and Kuwait is being hit by missiles and drones from Iranian allies in Iraq. Iran has another card to play, the closure of another choke point in world trade, the Bab el-Mandeb, which would close off traffic through the Red Sea and the Suez Canal. Saudi Arabia, whose pumping filling station for an east-west pipeline that feeds into the Red Sea has already been attacked once, has warned the US that if this war resumes, this strait would be the next that Iran could close. And in a sign that the US agrees and is taking this threat seriously, they have routed their aircraft carrier, the USS George H.W. Bush, around the Cape of Good Hope instead of through Suez and the Red Sea to arrive in the Middle East. This keeps their aircraft carrier out of range of the Houthis. Any attempt by the US military to reverse Iran's hold over Hormuz would be hard fought and bloody. Getting physical control of Hormuz in practice means the US Marines seizing 3 Iranian islands, Abu Musa, Larak and Karg. The problem is less the difficulty of landing Marines on these islands. It is to hold onto them once US forces are there. With no cover, the Marines would likely incur high casualties from ballistic missiles and drones targeting them from the coastline or other nearby islands like Keshem. They would need resupply after about 15 days, and those ships would be sitting ducks. Quite apart from this battleground, it is difficult to believe that Iran would not be raining down fire on every other oil terminal in the Gulf if its main terminal at Karg were to be attacked. The cost of liberating the islands in and around Hormuz could be a smouldering mass of ruins up and down the Gulf, which would halt oil and gas export for the foreseeable future. The Gulf states themselves are split and powerless to serve as anything other than target practice for the Iranian Revolutionary Guards. The UAE and Bahrain, Israel's closest allies in the Gulf, are for finishing the job and probably have already started attacking Iran directly. Qatar and Oman are in the peace now camp. Kuwait and Saudi Arabia are hovering in between both poles. Iran has warned the Emiratis that after this war is over, their lucrative arrangements with Tehran will not resume. Iran is saying that whatever happens, it will not forget which side Abu Dhabi chose to back. With Iran, Trump now finds himself in much the same position that Netanyahu found himself in after the Gaza war. Gaza's refusal to wave the white flag enraged and weakened Netanyahu at the same time. The moment the war stopped, Netanyahu found himself deluged with domestic criticism and complaint that the war aims had not been achieved. The same thing is happening now inside MAGA about the Iranian war to Trump. The only response Netanyahu and Trump can have to this protest is to keep the war going in some form or other. Worse still, other voices are now reaching Trump's ear, such as his friend Mark Levine, who is consistently drawing a comparison to the Japanese surrender after the Second World War. He said, in order to get the Japanese to surrender, we dropped 2 atomic bombs. Madness is afoot and it's becoming a global problem. Europe is out of the game and China is watching from a distance. Trump's antics have stopped being a joke. They're a major cause of global instability. If Trump makes another mistake in this campaign, everyone in the world will feel it.